Okay, we're going to be talking about the differences between ser and estar. Hopefully you remember a lot of these. Remember that both of these verbs mean to be. You use them in really different ways. So we're going to talk about the conjugations first. Hopefully you remember all of these super well. The present tense of ser, yo soy, tú eres, él, ella, usted es, nosotros somos, ellos, ellas, ustedes son. For the preterite, fui, remember that it's irregular. Tú fuiste, él, ella, usted fue, nosotros fuimos, ellos, ellas, ustedes fueron. And the imperfect is also irregular. Yo era, tú eras, él, ella, usted era, nosotros éramos, and that has an accent. Oop, that looks like an E. Éramos with an accent. Y ellos, ellas, ustedes eran. Okay, for estar in the present tense, estoy, estás con acento, él, ella, usted está con acento, nosotros estamos, ellos, ellas, ustedes están con acento. These accents are super important because they can mean other things if you don't have the accent, so make sure that you include these. Okay, for the preterite, it is irregular. Yo estuve, tú estuviste, él, ella, usted estuvo, nosotros estuvimos, ellos, ellas, ustedes estuvieron. And finally, in the imperfect, estaba, estabas, estaba, estábamos, estaban. And this accent here is also super important, so make sure that you use that. You also want to know all the other forms of ser and estar, like the future and the conditional, but right now we're just going to do present, preterite, and imperfect. Okay, so when do you use them? For ser, you're definitely going to use it with day or date or time. So if you say, hoy es jueves, son las 12. Generally, when you think about ser and estar, a lot of times you think of ser as permanent and estar as temporary, but that's not always the case, which is why you need to know the rules because it's not always Thursday and it's not always noon, but day, date, and time are always going to be ser no matter what. Okay, with inherent traits. Again, this isn't necessarily something that's permanent, but it is something that is inherent that is not going to change within the next 5 minutes. So, yo soy maestra, ustedes son estudiantes. So I'm a teacher, you guys are students. Obviously, I may not always be a teacher, and you guys won't always be students, but it's an inherent trait about myself or about yourselves that's not going to change within the next 5 minutes. Okay, you use ser with day when you're talking about possession, origin, or make. So if you say, la bicicleta es de Juan, so that's possession. The bicycle belongs to Juan, and es de Mexico. So the bike was made in Mexico. That's its origin or make. If you have day, you're pretty much always going to be using ser. And events. So this one's a little bit tricky because normally for location, you're going to use estar, but when you have a specific event, you're going to use ser. So, la fiesta es el viernes es en el hotel. Normally, you're going to want to use estar for location, but if it's an event, then you're going to use ser. So the party is Friday, it is in the hotel. So these 4 reasons are going to be the things that you're going to know that you need to use ser. Okay, for estar, other than events, location, location, location. Anytime you're talking about location, you're going to use estar. So I could say, estoy en Oak Hall. Oak Hall está en Gainesville. So again, you don't necessarily want to think about ser as always permanent and estar as always temporary because estoy en Oak Hall, like I'm at Oak Hall right now, yeah, that is temporary. Oak Hall está in Gainesville, that sounds pretty permanent. I mean, it's always going to be in Gainesville. But location is always going to be estar other than events. Okay, so temporary conditions or states. This is normally with emotions or other things that are going to change. So estoy enferma. I am sick right now. That's a temporary condition. Estoy triste. I'm sad because I'm sick. So both of these are temporary states or conditions that are probably going to change at some point. And then finally, use estar with the progressive tense. So remember, the progressive tense is the ing, which is ondo and iendo. And you're going to use estar with this. So if you say, estoy escribiendo. You can also use this with the future, present, past. Estaba escribiendo, estuve escribiendo, estaré escribiendo. Any form of estar with the ing. And yeah, that's how you know when to use estar. Okay, there are a couple of things that you want to keep in mind when you're using ser versus estar. So, different adjectives can mean different things. So, when you're using ser, if you say somebody is guapo or guapa, that means that they are good looking always. Like, that is an inherent trait of that person. They are always good looking. If you say somebody is gordo or gorda, you are definitely saying that they are fat, and that is something that they always are. It's an inherent trait of themselves. It's not going to change within the next 5 minutes. And bueno or buena, obviously, good. And that is seen as something that's inherent, that's not going to change. Now, when you use estar, these things can mean something different. So if you say that somebody está guapo, then that means that they look good right now. So, like, if somebody walks in and they're wearing a super cute dress, and you would say, "Oh, you look really cute today," you would say, "Estás guapa hoy," like you look good. If you say that somebody está gordo, está gorda, you're saying that they look fat right now. And so if you're saying generally that person is skinny, but if you say, oh, Ricardo está gordo, like he looks fat right now. And then the same thing for bueno. This actually usually is used with food. So if you're describing food, you could say la comida es buena, as in food is good in general. But if you're saying it's good right now, like it tastes good, then you'd say la comida está buena. Because right now you're eating it and right now it tastes good, as opposed to just in general. So pretty much any adjective like this is going to mean something that is inherent or permanent versus something that is kind of a surprise because it's just for right now. Okay, and then there are other ones that mean something just literally completely different. And so you definitely want to make sure that you know the difference with ser and estar. So when you're using ser, if you say somebody es aburrido, that means they are boring. So I hope that you never say la maestra es aburrida, because I would be sad. Okay, if you say that somebody es listo, then you're saying that they are clever. They are a smart person. If you say that somebody es malo, you are saying that they are mean. So again, I hope you don't ever say la maestra es mala. And if you say that somebody es rico or es rica, that means they are rich, as in they have a lot of money. Now, if you're going to use estar with any of these adjectives, they mean something totally different. So, of course, aburrido means bored if you use it with estar. So, hopefully, you don't say estamos aburridos when you're in la clase de español. If you say estoy lista or estamos listos, that means you are ready to go. You are ready to take the quiz. You are ready to leave the classroom, whatever you're ready to do. If you say that something or somebody está malo or está mala, that usually means they're sick or ill. Like, mi abuela está mala right now. Like, she's sick right now. You wouldn't want to say mi abuela es mala, because that would be sad. And then rico, this is generally used with food. And so if you say la comida está rico, or like whatever you're saying, si están ricos, you're saying that it's delicious or it's tasty right now. So these words mean something totally different when used with the estar. Make sure that you know the difference. Okay, a little bit of practice if you're going to want to use ser or estar in these cases. So mi amigo blank in Chile. My friend is in Chile. That's probably not a permanent thing. And in either case, location is always estar other than events. So it's going to be estar. Mi amigo está en Chile. He's a student. So this is an inherent trait that's probably not going to change within the next 5 minutes. So es estudiante, we're going to use ser. He's not very rich. Remember that rich with estar is talking about food, and so if you used estar, you'd be saying my friend is not very delicious, but you're wanting to say my friend is not rich, as in with money. So you're going to use ser, no es muy rico. Okay, that door is green. That's an inherent trait of the door. It's not going to change within the next 5 minutes, so you're going to use ser. Esa puerta es verde. It is broken. So that's a temporary condition that could change relatively soon. It's not something that's an inherent trait of that door. So we're going to use estar rota, and right now it is open. Again, that's a temporary thing that's not an inherent trait of that door, so we're going to use estar. Ahora está abierta. Todos los candidatos, so all of the candidates are men. That's probably an inherent trait. I'm assuming it's not going to change within the next 5 minutes, so we're going to use ser. Todos los candidatos son hombres. They are losing. We have the ing here. Remember that ing, we always use a star. So, están, con acento, perdiendo. They are sad. That's a temporary condition. That's not an inherent trait about them, so we're going to use a star. Están tristes. And that's it for ser and estar. If you have any questions, let me know.